ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागर सुषुप्तमवेति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्घः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यः साधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति अविरोधितया कर्म नाविद्यां विनिवर्तयेत् विद्या विद्यां निहन्त्येव तेजस्तिमिरसङ्घवत् परिच्छिन्न इव ज्ञानं तन्नाशे सति केवलः स्वयं प्रकाशते ह्यात्मा मेघापायेषुमानिव अज्ञानकलुषं जीवं ज्ञानाभ्यासाद्विनिर्मलं कृत्वा ज्ञानं स्वयं नश्येत् जलं कतकरेणुवत् संसारस्वप्नतुल्यो हि रागद्वेषादिसङ्कुलः स्वकाले सत्यवद्भाति प्रबोधे सत्यसद्भवेत्। तावत् सत्यं जगद्भाति शुक्तिकारजतं यथा यावन्न ज्ञायते ब्रह्म सर्वाधिष्ठानमद्वयम् उपादानेऽखिलाधारे जगन्ति परमेश्वरे सर्गस्थितिलयान्यान्ति बुद्बुदानीव वारिणि We have the Atma bodh shlokas, right, Bella? Maybe we could share that. Sachidatmanyanusyute nitye Vishnau prakalpitaha vyaktayo vividha sarva पाठके कटकादिवत्.
Ramaraji, kindly share that. I'm unable to locate that. I have
No
lost
problem.
it. Yeah, please.
No problem. यथा काशो हृषीकेशो नानोपाधिगतो विभुः तद्भेदाद् भिन्नवद्भाति तन्नाशे केवलो भवेत्. नानोपाधिवशादेव जातिवर्णाश्रमादयः आत्मन्यारोपितास्तो ये रसवर्णादिभेदवत्. पञ्चीकृतमहाभूत सम्भवं कर्म सञ्चितं शरीरं सुखदुःखानां भोगायतनमुच्यते. पञ्च प्राणमनो बुद्धिः दशेन्द्रियसमन्वितम् अपञ्चीकृतभूतोत्थं सूक्ष्माङ्गं भोगसाधनम्. अनाद्यविद्या निर्वाच्य कारणोपाधिरुच्यते उपाधित्रिदयादन्यम् आत्मानमवधारयेत्. पञ्चकोशादियोगेन तत्तन्मय इव स्थितः शुद्धात्मा नीलवस्त्रादि योगेन स्फटिको यथा. वपुस्तुषादिभिः कोशैः युक्तं युक्त्यावघाततः आत्मानमन्तरं शुद्धं विविच्यातण्डुलं यथा. सदा सर्वगतोऽप्यात्मा न सर्वत्रावभासते बुद्ध्या वेवावभासेत स्वच्छेषु प्रतिबिम्बवत्. देहेन्द्रियमनोबुद्धिः प्रकृतिभ्यो विलक्षणम् तद्वृत्तिसाक्षिणं विद्यात् आत्मानं राजवत्सदा. व्यापृतेष्वेन्द्रियेष्वात्मा व्यापारी वा विवेकिनां दृश्यते भ्रेषु धावत्सु धावन्निव यथा शशी. आत्मचैतन्यमाश्रित्य देहेन्द्रियमनोधियः स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते सूर्यलोकं यथा जनाः. देहेन्द्रियगुणान् कर्मान् अमले सच्चिदात्मनि अध्यस्यन्त्यविवेकेन गगने नीलतादिवत्. अज्ञानान्मानसोपाधिः कर्तृत्वादीनि चात्मनि कल्प्यन्तेऽम्बुगते चन्द्रे Chalanadi yathambasah. I think we'll stop here. That's it. I will share the uh, only shlokas because then we'll save some time in
Yes. I have
doing the
located
screen.
the other file, but somehow I'm not able to find
No,
that
we
file
can get it
also.
from the Google. We can get it from Google also, not an issue, but we'll do
Okay.
that from tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think we'll need to start from shloka number 20.
Okay.
Or did we stop at 19 yesterday?
Um, no, I think we completed 19. Let me just see the shloka.
Yeah, because I was the one who read.
Yeah, this is the 19. Yes.
19 we finished. Vyapritesh. 19 is done. I think even 20 we did. But we could do 20 once again because we didn't have enough time for Manana. So we'll do that. And I think Mrinal had some question that she had yesterday um, that we said we'll take up today and we'll discuss that, no?
Yeah.
I think it was about the doership.
Yeah. So is it related to shloka 19th or it is related to 20th?
I think 20th. You can go to 20th and then.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I will need some help from somebody from our class for reading maybe like in half an hour or so.
I
45
don't
minutes.
worry. I'm here. I
Yeah.
will take care.
Yeah. Dhanyavad. आत्मचैतन्यमाश्रित्य देहेन्द्रियमनोधियः स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते सूर्यलोकं यथा जनाः Atma Chaitanyam, vitality of consciousness, Ashritya, depending upon, Dehendriya Manodhiyah, body, senses, mind, and intellect. Swakriyartheshu, in their respective activities, Vartante, engage, Surya Lokam, light of the sun, Yatha, just as, Janaha, people. आत्मचैतन्यम् आश्रित्य देहेन्द्रिय मनोधीयः स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते सूर्यलोकं यथा जनाः depending upon the energy or vitality of consciousness Atma Chaitanya, the body, senses, mind, and intellect engage themselves in their respective activities, just as men work depending upon the light of the sun. I repeat, depending upon the energy or vitality of consciousness, Atma Chaitanya, the body, senses, mind, and intellect engage themselves in their respective activities, just as men work depending upon the light of the sun. Every one of the equipments, body, mind, and intellect, functions in its own definite sphere, and each one of it depends entirely upon that power, Atma Chaitanya, which by its mere presence kindles life in matter and makes it look as though sentient. The power of electricity is one, but its fields of operation are different. Without electricity, even if we have all the bulbs and switches in their proper places, we do not get any manifestation. Likewise, without the enlivening Atman, no activity is possible in this world. And All the objects of creation would then be, without its grace, a dead weight of matter, hanging heavily around like stone, inert, dark, and devoid of any symptom of life and hope. It is that which makes up the life in all, at once dynamic, gay, energetic, and beaming with attraction, although in itself it is not affected by the things and happenings of life which it illumines in its shining presence divine. The illustration here is from the various activities that start with the rising of the sun in the east. Whatever be the thoughts and actions of an individual who faces the day, the sun, which illumines the earth, is not affected by the happiness or sorrow of those who are here in this world. It simply illumines whatever part of the globe comes before its power of illumination. So too, at the touch, at the touch of the illumining glory of the self, Atma Chaitanya, the outer world of activities is vitalized. The self never gets mixed up with anything which it vitalizes. Whatever be the situation which the sun is illumining, some bleeding war or some boiling tar, the sun neither gets red nor black. The sunlight need never get boiled up with the prevailing sense of hate or heat. So, in the presence of that self-effulgent Atma Chaitanya, the whole creation manifests and plays their role. But it is not, it itself is never affected. Yeah, I request everyone to share, please. And Mrinalji, she had a question yesterday that it is the apparatus which is making the difference. So kindly put forward your question and we can have the money. Mrinalji is not there.
If I remember, it was to do with the doership. We were discussing about how it is only a happening, and it is not that the more and more we are in that non-doership state, we are we are that much closer to the Atman. Whereas when we assume doership, that will keep us more in the ego sense. And I think we were talking about her being a great cook, and then how it was with respect to that. So maybe Rinal, if you're there, you could um, reframe your question maybe. And bottom line is, as long as we are in the state of Dvaita, there will be a little bit of doership. That is that little bhakta, very light. Otherwise, even we cannot take care of our body. Isn't it that Lesha Avidya needs to be there. That little bit is there till you completely merge with that, where even that little bit of ego is dissolved. So that way, yes. But otherwise, the less and less we take credit for whatever we, as in the body, mind, intellect, equipment, is functioning, is achieving, or achieving success in the world, when if we are able to look at it as a witness rather than as something that I have done, the more we are in that I bhava, I think the more the ego gets hardened. The whole journey is about dissolving the ego, isn't it? The small I merging with the big I. So this little small I might still remain as long as we have that little Dvaita Bhava. For a Karma Yogi, there is that little Dvaita Bhava. It is only for a person who's completely realized that even that is not there, that merges.
Yeah, Hariom, I understood the question as little differently as per my knowledge. She was asking that because she had prepared that way her apparatus, that's why whatever skill or talent she has acquired, it is because of the equipment. That's what is my understanding. So I just in that also it is like Sylvania Lakshman bulb or maybe LED bulb. It depends on the how well you have updated your body, mind, intellect. So Mrinalji can enlighten us with her question.
Okay, I think we'll move forward later when she's able to
Okay,
speak. Take it forward.
okay.
We can continue.
Yeah, but at this point, this what Atma Chaitanya is very important to be understood. It is the same self-effulgent self, which is. Anyone wants to share about the understanding about this shloka, or we move
I
forward?
think the question yesterday I have not attended, but what you were talking about right now, from that I can understand. Whatever skills we get, maybe our efforts are there, but the force behind it, it is something different. Only then you are getting that um, desire to get excel in that skills, and with efforts you excel or you gain that proficiency in that things, I think. So
Yes,
even
very true.
yeah, yeah, even the light is there, but energy is there, but which type of bulb is there? The color, white will give white, blue will give blue, like that. But the energy is same. But some vasanas and all something from the previous lifetimes, which is which will manifest, and we will think if we have taken a efforts, or um, we have done something to get skilled in that thing. The seed is already there, I think so. Thank you. You can carry on.
With Karma Yoga, I think we get that skill. That is Karmasya Kuru, what is that? Kaushalam. I'm not pronouncing it correctly. We get the sincerity in the work, in the what we do, when we follow the Karma Yoga.
And Sahaj Karma is already there. That's why you
Yeah.
are going for that.
Yeah, that is what, So you get that, your nature, your sanskara will pull you there. That is what Krishna also says in the with Arjuna. No, even if you with moha you say that I want to fight, but your nature will push you to do the karma. Whether you agree or not, you will do it. That is what he says. So the whatever we have built, the sanskara, that will make us to do the job what we have to do. So that is, and with kushala, means kushala is the skill. I think I might have earlier told you that kusha is a grass. To pluck that kusha, you need a skill. Otherwise, it will just, very difficult to pluck that grass. So they say that kushala, so the skill needed to pluck that is the skill. So they use that kushala. That's the word I had heard someone, this one. So out of nature, you will do your job perfectly. Without your involvement or without your, you tell that I don't want to do moha and all that, it will push you to do that work. So better you do that work with your mind, so that as a prasada you have to do it. That is natural, it comes. For everyone, the talent is natural. And if you don't use it, you will waste it. Again, you have to come and again do the same thing in the next birth or whatever it is.
No, if
So better,
you don't use it, you will not get in the next lifetime also.
no, means again you have to try to come up to that level. You have lost it because of your laziness. Good. Continue, please. Sorry.
Very nice. Very well said. देहेन्द्रियगुणान् कर्मान् अमले सच्चिदात्मनि अध्यस्यन्त्यविवेकेन गगने नीलतादिवत्. Dehendriya Gunan, qualities of the body and senses, Karmani, actions, Amale, pure, Satchidatmani, on the Atman, the absolute existence knowledge, Adhyasyanti, superimpose, Avivekena, by lack of discrimination, Gagane, in the sky, Neela Tadivata, blue color and the like. Dehendriya Gunan, Karmani, Amale, Satchidatmani, Adhyasyanti, Avivekena, Gagane, Nilatadivat. Fools, because they lack in their powers of discrimination, superimpose I repeat, fools, because they lack in their powers of discrimination, superimpose on the Atman, the absolute existence knowledge, Sat Chit, all the varied functions of the body and the senses, just as they attribute blue color and the like to the sky. I repeat, fools, because they lack in their powers of discrimination, superimpose on the Atman, the absolute existence knowledge, Sat Chit, all the varied functions of the body and the senses, just as they attribute blue color and the like to the sky. Because they lack in their powers of right discrimination, the qualities of the body, mind, intellect, the limitations of the physical and subtle body are superimposed by the ignorant on the pure self. Thereafter, the deluded mistake this real self to be one possessing all the imperfections of the superimposed equipments. This non-discrimination Aviveka is like the misconception which makes children believe that the sky is blue when actually it has no color. Not only the blueness, but the concavity of the sky, murkiness, misty looks, dusty conditions are all often considered as conditions of the sky. In fact, space appears as having these qualities, but space as such has none of them. An object is not affected by the traits superimposed upon it. And here, when we superimpose certain characteristics of the body and mind on the self effulgent being, the truth itself is not affected by such misconceived notions and attributes. The blueness perceived is the experience of our limited vision when it looks at the endless summer sky. I repeat once again. Fools, because they lack in their powers of discrimination, superimpose on the Atman, the absolute existence knowledge, Sat-Chit, all the varied functions of the body and the senses, just as they attribute blue color and the light to the sky. Because they lack in their powers of right discrimination, the qualities of the body, mind, intellect, the limitations of the physical and subtle body are superimposed by the ignorant on the pure self. Thereafter, the deluded mistake this real self to be one possessing all the imperfections of the superimposed equipments. This non-discrimination, aviveka, is like the misconception which makes children believe that the sky is blue when actually it has no color. Not only the blueness, but the concavity of the sky, murkiness, misty looks, dusty conditions are all often considered as conditions of the sky. In fact, space appears as having these qualities, but space as such has none of them. An object is not affected by the traits superimposed upon it. And here, when we superimpose certain characteristics of the body and mind on the self-effulgent being, the truth itself is not affected by such misconceived notions and attributes. The blueness perceived is the experience of our limited vision when it looks at the endless summer sky. So Atman doesn't take any traits of body, mind, and intellect. It is because of the aviveka, our non-discriminative power, that we consider Atman as all the limitations with all those limitations. But in fact, Atman is pure Sat Chit Ananda Eva. It is never affected, just like the sky is never affected whether it has rainbow or thunderstorm clouds, black clouds. It is never affected, but it appears as if it is blue because of different reasons. Kindly share your understanding. Shall I read further if nobody wants to share? अज्ञानान् मानसोपाधेः कर्तृत्वादीनि चात्मनि कल्प्यन्ते मुगते चन्द्रे चलनादि यथाम्भसः. Ajnanat, through ignorance, manasopadhehe, of the mind, which is a upadhi, kartrutvadini, agency of action, etc., cha, and atmani, on the self, kalpyante, attribute, ambugate, which is reflected in the water, chandre, in the moon, chalanadi, tremblings, etc., yatha, just as, ambasaha, of the water, ajnanat, manasopadhehe, कर्तृत्वादीनि च आत्मनि कल्प्यन्ते अम्बुगते चन्द्रे चलनादि यथा अम्भसः. The tremblings that belong to the waters are attributed through ignorance to the reflected moon dancing on it. Likewise, agency of action, of enjoyment, and of other limitations, which really belong to the mind, are delusively understood as the nature of the self, Atman. I repeat, the tremblings that belong to the waters are attributed through ignorance to the reflected moon dancing on it. Likewise, agency of action, of enjoyment, and of other limitations, which really belong to the mind, are delusively understood as the nature of the self, Atman. The ideas, I am the enjoyer, I am the doer, are of the intellect. These different ideas, such as I am this, I am, etc., arise in the mind only when we are in the midst of the activities of the work-a-day world and of the dream world. For when we are in deep sleep, we do not have any such ideas. I read once again. The ideas, I am the enjoyer, I am the doer, are of the intellect. These different ideas, such as I am this, I am, etc., arise in the mind only when we are in the midst of the activities of the work-a-day world and of the dream world. For when we are in deep sleep, we do not have any such ideas. It is only when the mind is available for perception and cognition that we come to know of the things cognized. As long as we identify ourselves with the mind, so long alone can we claim to have the dual experiences in these plans of existence. But when once we have withdrawn ourselves from the mental plan and are in a state of
I
pure
think that is
consciousness.
mental plane. It's a plane.
Oh,
It's a level
sorry,
state of existence.
yeah,
Right.
plane. Okay, Dhanyavad. I read once again. It is only when the mind is available for perception and cognition that we come to know of the things cognized. As long as we identify ourselves, as long as we identify ourselves with the mind, so long alone can we claim to have the dual experiences in these planes of existence. But when once we have withdrawn ourselves from the mental plane and are in a state of pure consciousness, samadhi, we realize that all the thoughts and emotions and activities of the intellect, mind, and body are not in the self, nor are they of the self. The delusory reflection of the consciousness in the mental pool, which agitates with the panting, egoistic ideas of I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, etc., cease when there are no more any thought eruptions therein. So the root cause is identified. I repeat once again. As long as we identify ourselves with the mind, so long alone can we claim to have the dual experiences in these planes of existence. But when once we have withdrawn ourselves from the mental plane and are in a state of pure consciousness, samadhi, we realize that all the thoughts and emotions and activities of the intellect, mind, and body are not in the self, nor are they of the self. The delusory reflection of the consciousness in the mental pool, which agitates with the panting egoistic ideas of I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, etc., cease when there are no more any thought eruptions therein. The example here is of an image of the moon.
Excuse me, that panting egoistic ideas is it painting or panting? I didn't understand the word panting. Mental pool which agitates with the panting egoistic ideas.
Yeah, I read once again. The delusory reflection of the consciousness in the mental pool, which agitates with the panting egoistic ideas of I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, etc., sees when there are no more any thought eruptions therein.
I
I
think it's
think with
panting only because at every experience you keep saying, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. It is it is like this the waters
Yeah, I
trembling on
understood
the
that. What I
yeah.
just want to know the panting word.
Panting is when you're running, you're panting for breath, no? You're out of breath. You're taking those breaths quick and fast. That is panting. So
Oh,
we are
not
hurriedly attributing everything to the ego
ego. Yes, yes.
rather than pausing and saying, oh, this is just happening.
Thank you.
yeah, the example will make it very clear. I'll just read and then we can have the manana. The example here is of an image of the moon reflected in a bucket of water, which seems to shiver when the water surface is disturbed. When the water calms down and becomes steady, we do not see the shattered moon in the bucket of water reassembling to form one whole. Similarly, when one has purified one's mind and has consolidated its strength and has reconstructed it to be firm and steady by narrowing down its various unholy, unhelpful, and selfish thoughts, the glory of the self gets automatically reflected in all its beauty within oneself, unshaken by the dualities around and the consequent agitations. So once that inner equipment is cleaned, it is clear, Shuddha Antakaran, then the reflection of the moon is automatically clear and steady. So the because of the doership and enjoyership, the mind, the agitations in the mind will create those ripples on the surface of the water, and which will not allow that reflection as clear and shiny.
But at the same time, we have to use the mind and intellect in order to reach there. We need the mind and intellect to clean the mind and intellect equipment. That uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. So it is not someone else, it is us, the mind we have to use our own equipment to clean the equipment.
Yes, and even the water has to be cleaned, right? Even though there are no ripples, but if the water is muddy and it will not get the pure reflection, the shiny reflection. So it has to be selfless. Whatever you are doing, it has to be without doer, not only without doership, but it has to be, as it is mentioned so well, it has to be holy, helpful, and selfless thoughts. So the preparation of mind is so very important. It can happen only when there is seva, sadhana, and satsang.
I mean, we all have a bit of ego, but it will be diluted. It will become very thinned out, not like a thick block. It gets thinner and thinner, and ultimately, even that vritti jnana. See, any vritti comes up, happens in the mind. And as long as the mind is there is, when you cognize the mind, there is that I that comes up, which is the example given in deep sleep. You don't have any cognition of I, of doership there. So when, even in the waking state, if we can thin out our ego to such an extent, and anything that is happening is attributed as a vibhuti. It is Lord's grace. It is His grace that is making this happen. Then we are slowly and very steadily loosening the grip that ego has on us, rather than say, oh, I did it, and then you're getting stuck in that hardened ego. Finally, like even that vritti jnana, that little I, which Ramana Maharshi says, question, who is that I? Who is asking that question? Keep going within. Who is that I? And then that small I ultimately dissolves. Like that stick, finally, that is stoked in to stoke the fire in the yajna kunda, in the homa kunda. In that, even that is ultimately um, dropped into the fire. So even this vritti jnana, ultimately, even that dissolves. And just like that jalam kataka renuvat, that it settles down. And what remains is just pure consciousness, which is what we experience in meditation. Although we're still covered by that karana sharira, that avidya layer is there, but we are in that bliss sheath. We are in that anandamaya sheath there at that point.
Yeah, very beautiful. Brahmaraji, I just have that one, it is not a question, but the ananda what we feel during our meditation, it is due to again due to the indriya ananda only, although it is that is why it is temporary, right? The ananda, which is the the real swarupa of the Atman, is never interrupted. It is always there. Am I
Correct.
correct in my understanding?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
It is like in samadhi, when we are in samadhi after meditation, the bliss that we are in is likened to the deep sleep state, except that here we're doing it out of awareness. But that layer of avidya is still there, and that has to be shattered by knowledge. Which is why we come back even after we meditate. We're all meditating, yes, but as long as we're meditating, we are in a blissful state. But once we come back, again, we come back to ground zero, where we identify with everything and we have the I, me, mine. So we come back. But the point of no return, yad gatva nanivartante, that dhamma, that ultimate state is the state of pure consciousness, which comes as we keep polishing ourselves. When there is enough antakarna shuddhi and antakarna naischalya, then that with knowledge that will dawn.
Yeah, very beautiful. You know, the way you speak these words, no, they become like a printed Antakarana Shuddhi and Antakarana Naishalya. They are encrypted in a way. Dhanyavad, Brahmaraj. It's so beautiful. Shall I move ahead? Anybody would like to share? रागेच्छा सुख दुःखादि बुद्धौ सत्यां प्रवर्तते सुषुप्तौ नास्ति तन्नाशे तस्मात् बुद्धेस्तु नात्मनः. Ragah, attachment, ichha, desire, sukha, pleasure, dukkhadi, pain, etc. Buddhau, satyam, when mind or intellect functions. Pravartate, are perceived. Sushuptau, deep sleep. Na, not. Asti, is. Tannashe, at the destruction of it, mind. Tasmat, therefore. Buddhehe, of the mind. Tu, only. Na, not. Atmanah, of the Atman. Raga, Ichha, Sukha, Dukkhadi, Buddhau Satyam Pravartate, Sushuptau na asti, Tannashe, Tasmat Buddhehe, tu na Atmanah. Attachment, desire, pleasure, pain, etc. are perceived to exist so long as buddhi or mind functions. They are not perceived in deep sleep when the mind ceases to exist. Therefore, they belong to the mind alone and not to the Atman. I repeat, attachment, desire, pleasure, pain, etc. are perceived to exist so long as buddhi or mind functions. They are not perceived in deep sleep when the mind ceases to exist. Therefore, they belong to the mind alone and not to the Atman. There is no place for ignorance in the blissful existence of the self, which is omniscient and omnipresent. How can there be darkness before light? And how can the passions that arise in the mind come to stay with the Atman? It is the avidya of the individual, his desire for pleasure and his attachment to the fruits of his actions that deludes him to the bondage of samsara. I repeat, there is no place for ignorance in the blissful existence of the self, which is omniscient and omnipresent. How can there be darkness before light? And how can the passions that arise in the mind come to stay with the Atman? It is the avidya of the individual, his desire for pleasure, and his attachment to the fruits of his actions that deludes him to the bondage of samsara. A pure mind leads one to greater glory and happiness, and ultimately to liberation through the final experience of the true knowledge, whilst the same mind drags the individual down to lower births and Kshamyatam. A pure mind leads one to greater glory and happiness, and ultimately to liberation through the final experience of the true knowledge, whilst the same mind drags the individual down to lower birth when it groans in ajnana. Therefore, if we deal suitably with the turbulent mind and quieten its riotous activities, the self is revealed in its infinite glory with no blemish of the Jivatman. Jivatvam. Jivatvam. I read once again. Therefore, if we deal suitably with the turbulent mind and quieten its riotous activities, the self is revealed in its infinite glory with no blemish of jivatvam in him. And remember, attachment, desire, etc. are of the mind and not of the Atman. So long as we are functioning through our mind, we are under the tyranny of attachment, desire, pleasure, pains, etc. But in deep sleep, when temporarily our minds are not effective in ourselves, all these tyrannies are at an end. When I look through a pair of green goggles, everything looks green. When I look at things with my naked eye, there is no green color. Therefore, the greenness is due to the glasses. So too, all these negative tendencies belong to the mind and are perceived only through the mind. They are not of the Atman. I read once again the last two paragraphs. So long as we are functioning through our mind, we are under the tyranny of attachment, desire, pleasure, pains, etc. But in deep sleep, when temporarily our minds are not effective in ourselves, all these tyrannies are at an end. When I look through a pair of green goggles, everything looks green. When I look at things with my naked eye, there is no green color. Therefore, the greenness is due to the glasses. So too, all these negative tendencies belong to the mind and are perceived only through the mind. They are not of the Atman. Now, so due to avidya, we perceive we are happy, we are joyful, or we are limited.
Hari Om. And this example of the glass, through which if we see the things, they look green. Otherwise, to the naked eye, it has no color. So I was just relating it to how when one, like when something inappropriate happens to a person, and how he has that impression of all that which he had bared, then how he uh, imposes on the other situation, if it is the same situation, how it imposes it on the other situation. Some days back, I was just watching a comedy movie, and though it was in it was in Gujarati, but I was seeing the titles and I was a little bit understanding. It was Dear Father, and it is in it, like a man falls down, and the son and the daughter-in-law, they were very scared what would happen because he was in ICU. Then he the inspector, which like, who was investigating the case, he was implicating them that you forced him to suicide. Then he tried to convince that it is that one of you murdered, getting various causes. And in the end, you know what came out, that his own son was not behaving with him properly. So he was seeing that thing in this family. So just reading these lines, I remember that story, so wanted to share. And he so made them so mentally, so he harassed them so mentally that they put a case on him, and he was to be suspended. But in the end, the wife said, that daughter-in-law, that he is seeing the picture what he has in himself. He's seeing the same, so we should excuse him. So then they withdraw the case and let him go, because he was about to retire in 2 months' time. So it was like an eye-opener type movie. Yeah, thank you.
जैसे दृष्टि वैसे सृष्टि.
Yeah, that movie, it was so. And though initially I put it, I don't know much of Gujarati, but it's only that slightly I could follow a few words. But the English captions were coming, so I continued it with, because it was so. I was so, why he's doing like this. I was myself wondering, but that was the story. Yeah, thank you.
May I request Brahmaraji to take over, please, if you are available?
Yeah, no issues. I was just reminded also of the beautiful example that Bela shared yesterday regarding the dirty glass through which it is seen. The clothes they look dirty because the glass is dirty. The same way, if we have a distorted vision in our own mind, that is how the world looks. Which is why Gurudev says, if you handle the mind, you can handle the world. It is all about the mind. If anybody else wants to share, please continue. I'll be there in a minute to share the screen. We continue. If anyone wants to share anything for the previous shloka, which is why also we should not put down ourselves in case while on this path, if you're kind of losing your temper or you become emotional, rather than sitting in the culprit consciousness, you'll have to see it as a happening and then move on, which is why Gurudev keeps mentioning, says, look at everything in the past as a dream and just let go of it. Otherwise, we'll start the mind is such that it goes on and on, gnawing at the past and putting ourselves down. Which is why that shloka in chapter 6 is so important. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadhayet. The mind is your enemy, mind is your friend. So lift yourself by yourself. Prakashorkasya to yasya शैत्यमग्नेर्यथोष्णता स्वभावः सच्चिदानन्द नित्यनिर्मलतात्मनः. Prakashah, luminosity, Arkasya of the sun, Toyasya for water, Shaityam, coolness, Agnehe for fire, Yatha, just as, Ushnata, heat, Swabhavaha, nature, Sat, reality, Chit, consciousness, Ananda, bliss, Nitya, eternity, Nirmalata, purity, Atmanaha, of the Atman. Prakashah arkasya toyasya शैत्यम अग्नेः यथा उष्णता स्वभावः सच्चित् आनंद नित्य निर्मलता आत्मनः. Just as luminosity is the nature of the sun, coolness of water, and heat of fire, so too the nature of the Atman is eternity, purity, reality, consciousness, and bliss. Whether it is the human personality or the plant specimen or animal entity, no one wants to die or suffer any agony and pain. Instead, there is a positive effort at all times for the acquisition of knowledge and the enjoyment of pleasure and for the self-preservation of the individuality. Nothing can remain away from its essential nature, dharma. There cannot be cool fire or a dark sun. Every object must express its own essential nature. The sun is luminosity itself, which it shows out. The heat of the fire is well known, and no one has come across a cold ball of fire. Similarly, if at all Atman is to be defined in terms of its nature, we can only say that it is that which is eternal, nitya, ever pure, nirmala, and existence, knowledge, bliss, Satchit Ananda. See, it is because it is our true nature to be eternal. Our true nature is eternity, which is why we all go through the process of self-preservation. Why do we seek happiness? Because our true nature is happiness. So whether it is I'm reading this again, whether it is the human, read this, just as luminosity is the nature of the sun, coolness of water, and heat of fire, so too the nature of the Atman is eternity, purity, reality, consciousness, and bliss. Whether it is the human personality or the plant specimen or animal entity, no one wants to die or suffer any agony and pain. Because that's not our true nature. We move towards our dharma. That swadharma is the eternity, purity. Instead, there is a positive effort at all times for the acquisition of knowledge and the enjoyment of pleasure and for the self-preservation of the individuality.
Hari Om. But everyone don't do the effort to seek that eternal. So it is because of the prarabdha karma only, or like many things I know, like cumulative, they all, the grace, the Guru grace, Shastra grace, Atma kripa. So it is all like, it is all contributing to a person's the path which he wants to seek that eternal. So though we are born equally on this planet, but one seeks and other doesn't seek, and that ignorance, the level of ignorance are multiple for multiple people, and they, each one has its own journey, but uh, still only few seeks that, like we see in our own family, no. So number is so less, though we know that reality, but however we try to uh, make them aware, they are not in a listening mode. Yes, as once Persiji said, that you just say and move on, but you feel so like, you feel as something is you are losing from your hands, that why isn't it so happening. You feel bad, but nothing can be done, of course, until that grace is there. So ultimately you go into your own self, your inside journey. This is what keeps happening now and then with me, because I don't find the understanding is not there, no. And sometimes I listen such words that you have wasted your degree also. So it is, I don't feel bad. I just take it as like it is their understanding. I feel I am doing more uh, this more judgment to my degree rather than previously when I wasn't in knowledge. So it is rather helping me out in a lot of ways which the other person cannot understand. So it is. I was just thinking over uh, this paragraph, how everyone wants to move away from suffering, agony, pain, but still they keep on, just like that daldal. They are caught up in that. They, though that in daldal, you in that mushness of that soil, you try to come out, but here that is also not there, that awareness is not there. So just what I do is then only prayer for them, nothing else can be done. So just prayer and seek his blessing, so that the other people, they also get on this path and feel that grace of God. Yeah, just wanted to share.
It's all about what you value, right? It's all about the value system. See, when different people value differently. Now, nations that are warring, they value their border security, or they value their, for whatever reason, their nuclear power. They want to preserve that, or they want to show that they are superior. So that is a value they have. That is talking about nations, but individualities as well. Individuals, if someone is valuing money, that is what he's going to pursue, and that is what he thinks he's getting happiness out of. You and I can talk for myself. I did not value this knowledge several years or several decades down the line. It was a gradual shift. So at that point, if someone else who is more evolved than me looked at me, he would only have compassion and say, "Oh, look at this. She's not even open to this knowledge." So I had had my own journey. So we have to just accept people as they are, move on, and like you rightly said, just have prayers for them. Just be in a prayerful mode and watch what is it that is causing us so much pain about our own people, our own family members. Isn't it that attachment? It's that association and that attachment which is causing you pain.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody else,
That association, it is
yeah,
not every time, but
yeah.
it erupts in between,
Pricks.
and
It
it
pricks.
is
Time
that.
and again it comes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Time and again it comes. It's not that it is always there. I'm so much in dissolving all this, but uh, time and come it comes like, and that thought come, and then it goes off ki, okay, it is the time will come for them, of course,
Yeah.
but seeing them, you feel bad, no?
Hmm.
Actually, that experiences or that eruptions are helping you in your spiritual journey. At least you are stick to your path.
Yeah, I have no other option also, and I myself, uh, like, I am engrossed in my own personal this thing. They cannot know what is inside me, because they cannot perceive also, no. But it is not that it makes me worry much, but the thoughts do come, no, कि why, but sometimes I think it must be happening in this way only, and at some point of the life things would definitely change. I have this faith. When that time will come, I don't know, but yes, I do pray for them, and sometimes, I visualize them sitting besides me also. Sometimes I have thoughts in my meditation, then I make them sit virtually besides me. That also happens, and like, do you know that thoughts come in
But
the
you can,
morning time? Yeah,
you can use your degree anytime and you can work, no problem.
yeah.
The way forward, I would look upon it as such. Those people who are our family members and are ignorant of this highest knowledge is only given to those whose time has come for it. And just like children act foolishly, na, we have to take them, they do such ridiculous things, na, and we don't get angry at their foolishness because they are children. We accept it that way. So also the people around us who may be ignorant of this highest knowledge, we should approach it from the point of view, look at our own ego. Huh? It's not superior or inferior complex or anything only limited to that. It is holding on to an identity. My husband, my children, my father, my mother, my in-laws, whatever it be. That is also holding on to an identity that is part of ego. Now, when Gurudev says, "K, you increase your ego multifold times such that you accept everybody in this universe to be yours," that comes from belongingness. He says, "I will not rest till I see a smile on each person's face. Till such time, I cannot rest." This is the universality of Gurudev's thinking. Therefore, you know that he does not come from a ego position. And that is what we need with this fine knowledge at our disposal to develop. That fine thin boundary where we restrict ourselves to I, me, my family. We break that boundary like we break boundaries in DSM course and move beyond that barrier of I, me, my family to accept the whole world as Vasudeva Kutumbakam, one big family. Then you will care for everybody the same way, and you will be able to accept these people who are ignorant of this highest knowledge like small children making mistakes. And then with a cool, calm mind, when you approach the topic, then you will be able to take corrective action, which will be good for the entire family. Whatever you are resisting will persist. But if you do it with full responsibility, you're responding to the best of your ability, letting go of the ego position of I, me, mine, you will speak words that will. I've seen it happening so many times in my family. I sit down and talk with my child. Yesterday night, I had to talk with him after his mother went to sleep. I said, see, you are not married. Your mother is over 70. She's feeling the heat. And you say, make the food hot to her. She may not be able to do it instantaneously. Don't demand things from your mother. So the way I explained it to him, na, the point went home. He said, yes, yes, Papa. So when you talk calmly with a child, and what I did was I stood up, I went, made eye to eye contact with him, and very nicely I told him something. I did not say, don't demand this or something. I did not use an aggressive tone at all, very calm tone. And I explained to him that we are both over 70. And the kind of heat that we are facing in Bombay right now is beyond us. We don't have ACs or anything. But he understood because I told him very calmly. There is no pressure from my side for anything for him to do.
Yeah, we cannot pressurize, of course. We cannot pressurize, but yes, that bhava is there. Like uh, I've started with an organization, for that awareness of that this japa and the meditation. There's a program called Jagrani Yojana, which is starting to be happening in all over India, starting from Pune itself, from that Vishwavidyalaya, the girls' university there. And they have organized this. They have given the duties to the females to make that awareness in the society, so that more and more people, they join for the japa and meditation, and basically by experiencing our own sharing our own experiences, we make the people like we motivate them, so that they can also be on this path, and somehow it will be helping in their journey also. So it is only like, it is not always that it comes to my mind that I alone in my family is on this path, but sometimes the thoughts do occur, though I never say anything to them that you do this or do that. It is up to their choice. But just thinking of my own thoughts, I was sharing that I wish that I wish God would have at least one or two people I would see that they are also on this path. Not seeing makes me a little low in my energy. It was only that I wanted to share. Right. Thank you.
We'll stop here today. But the bottom line is everybody is moving towards the dharma, which is why we don't want to die. We'll do everything to preserve the body. We go for knowledge because that is our nature. True nature is knowledge. You don't want to be in ignorance. That wanting to know, wanting to live forever, wanting to be happy. We are moving towards our true nature. And every animal, even a plant does that. If you look at a creeper, it will find some way to get itself alive. It will hold on to something and then continue to live. So that is visible in all of nature. And if you watch Animal Planet, how every animal does whatever it does to preserve itself. So just like the sun is luminosity itself, just like how fire is hot and water is cool, it is they're true to their dharma. Similarly, our true nature, that is the swadharma. Our nature is nothing but Satchidananda. If we remember this in all our dealings outside with people, then we would be, it opens up a different perspective. You know why you're doing what you're doing. I think we'll stop here today. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहह धनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पडीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पडीयसी माया